Hey everyone, today's 5-minute review will be on Emily Henry's Funny Story. I'm sure many of you have already read this one, or at least are aware of it, but I've been getting through lots of really popular picks lately, so I'll be reviewing this contemporary romance instead of one of the fantasy series that I've been trekking through lately. This is a fictional contemporary romance that goes through the funny story of how Miles and Daphne are forced out of their relationships to make way for their partners, Peter and Petra, to end up together. Daphne is a children's librarian, formerly Peter's fiance, while Miles, who is dating Petra, works at a winery. The two are forced together after separation from their former partners, and while things are uncomfortable at first, they find solace in their shared predicament. To really get back at their exes, they decide to start a fake relationship that couldn't possibly be real, despite the fact that they spend so much time together and go on totally not real fake dates, right? I categorize this book as emotional, funny, and lighthearted, and plenty of other readers had the same thoughts as I did and categorized this book as emotional, funny, and lighthearted as well. I chose this novel because I've read a couple other Emily Henry books lately and really enjoyed her writing style and plot progression, like a lot of other readers. It's no wonder she's really popular right now and sold so many books. I put a copy on hold at my library and picked it up with a few other contemporary fiction picks. I've generally noticed that I like the beginning of most contemporary romance novels as opposed to fantasy or romantasy. I think this is because contemporary authors can really get into the plot without a ton of world building initially, which means things pick up just a little bit quicker. I really love that about Emily Henry. I start reading and I know I'll probably read for a solid 50 pages or so before I can find a good stopping point for myself, whereas some romantasy and fantasy books can be a little too heavy on the world building for me. I do love how this is another book that she's written that is set in Michigan. It makes me so happy to hear about another Michigander. This story is told via Daphne's perspective, and it stays in her perspective, which I really prefer for a lot of contemporary romance. One of the things that I really appreciate about Emily Henry is how she creates subplots and really uses them to help drive the story overall. The absentee father trope really added another emotional depth to this story. I'm already a big fan of the fake dating trope, especially scheduled dates and really planned out dates, so I really enjoyed the plot overall. For me, this was a mix of character and plot driven. I loved the character development as the main characters got closer and closer together, and the cast of characters was very lovable, save the ones that kind of warrant a little bit of hate. This was a pretty diverse cast of characters overall, and a lot of the book was focused on the flaws of the main characters as the relationship developed. I rated this book 4.75 stars out of 5. I think I've just read a lot of contemporary romance lately, so this one really didn't wow me enough to leave me thinking that I needed to give this book 5 stars, so I went with my gut and gave it 4.75 stars. I did really love the plotline and the literary references, so this was definitely a high-ranked M. Henry for me. If you like forced proximity, fake dating, and a book filled with literary references, you will love this one too. I personally would recommend waiting a little while between Emily Henry reads, as I personally find the plot can be pretty similar between books and can kind of lose that wow factor once I've read too many too soon after finishing another one of her books. However, if you're newer to contemporary romance and the genre overall, I would definitely recommend this as a good jumping off point. There is a little bit of spice in this, as it is an adult contemporary romance novel, so I can't recommend it for a YA reader. This book is 384 pages long for the edition that I read, and it took me 3 days to finish, so my average page per day count should be approximately 130 pages or so. Instead, I actually read about 25 pages the first day and then read another 120 and then finished the final 240 pages or so on the last day of reading. This was a little faster than average read for me, as I typically read about 100 pages in a day. This was my 8th physical book finished for the year, and it fits in with my preferred book length of about 300 to 600 pages per book perfectly. Out of all the Emily Henry books I've read and reviewed so far, I think this is the one that I am most likely to buy a copy of. I really love the plot and the characters, and I would definitely reread this one, even if to pick out all the references to classic literature. So this book is on my physical book wish list, and I may even end up annotating it, which I don't usually do. So there is your 5-minute review on Funny Story by Emily Henry. I'm enjoying this format so far, so it'll be the same for a little while longer at least. I'm hoping to branch out from the most popular series at the moment to provide more interesting content and give some lesser known authors a little bit more clout. So hopefully I'll get some more content out soon, maybe on some books that you haven't heard of or haven't read. Be sure to follow me on Instagram and Threads at epla.nner. Add me on Storygraph where I'm most active, or Goodreads if you prefer more monthly updates. And I hope your day is a little better and brighter from this time that you took to invest in something that you enjoy. Thanks for watching.